esteemed traditional faith leaders with us today, corporate partners, the children, the youth, the women, the civil society organizations that are with us, the media. We want to say thank you so much for being here today at the 2025 Climate and Environment Justice Rally. I am honored to stand before you today at this vibrant Climate and Environment Justice Rally 2025, convened by the Center for Environment Justice, CEJ in Zambia, with support from our various partners, the Norwegian Church Aid, the Carter Center Foundation, EVOS, Civil Society for Poverty Reduction, Family Development Initiative, Environment Africa, Action Aid, the European Union. Thank you so much for making this event possible. Before I go further, allow me to recognize the Minister of Green Economy and Environment and the Minister of Local Government for their continued support to CEJ whenever we arrange events like this one. That brings together various stakeholders. Their presence here today at such a public gathering like this one symbolizes commitment to the environmental agenda and stewardship. We gather here with a shared conviction that justice indeed has no borders. Our theme echoes a universal truth. The pursuit of environmental justice indeed is very important, and is also a society differentiates. It unites us in a common cause to safeguard our planet for a greener today and a resilient tomorrow. Zambia's environmental landscape, blessed with abundant natural resources, from the majestic Victoria Falls to our rich biodiversity and mineral wealth, faces pressing environmental challenges, climate change impacts, water insecurity, and pressures on our ecosystem demand collective action. Our work at the Center for Environment Justice focuses on critical areas such as extractive industries, climate resilience, environmental justice, sustainable agriculture and energy, and water security. These aren't just policy issues, they are about people, communities, and Zambia's future. A borderless imperative, environmental justice isn't confined by borders. Pollution in one river affects downstream communities. Carbon emissions in one part of the world alter climate globally. Deforestation disrupts ecosystems and climate systems globally. When we speak of justice, we recognize the interconnectedness of our struggles. Rural communities battling with drought, urban centers grappling with pollution, to forests hosting precious biodiversity. Allow me just to recognize a few highlights of what we do and why this is very important. We advocate for transparency, accountability, and fair benefit sharing in Zambia's mining and extractive sectors. Communities deserve free, prior, and informed consent. Profits shouldn't come at the cost of people's health, land, and dignity. Zambia today is vulnerable to climate shocks like droughts and floods. Building resilience means empowering communities with adaptation strategies, promoting climate-smart agriculture, and pushing for global climate justice. We champion rights-based approaches, ensuring no community is left behind. Environmental harm impacts the vulnerable, women, children, and indigenous people. Transitioning to renewable energies like solar in Zambia offers pathways to energy access and reduced emissions. Agroecology can nourish people and protect our soil. Clean water is a right. CEJ works to protect water sources vital for ecosystems, agriculture, health, from pollution and overexploitation. Today's gathering symbolizes unity for climate and environmental justice. To our government officials present and those following virtually, we seek your leadership in policy and enforcement for environmental protection. To our corporate partners, we aid responsible business practices, aligning profit with planet and the people. To our traditional leaders that are here today, your custodianship of culture and land is vital. To our faith leaders, your moral guidance on stewardship inspires all of us. To the civil society organizations that are here today, your advocacy amplifies the voices. To the children, the youth, and the women that are here, you are Zambia's today and future. Your energy drives change. Allow me to acknowledge some of the challenges that we are facing. Environmental harm often hits marginalized groups. Global North historical emissions contrast with Global South vulnerability. Weak enforcement enables exploitation. We also request that let's prioritize our heritage and respect the human rights principles. Ladies and gentlemen, guests of honor, we are looking forward to demanding accountability from individuals and industries impacting our environment. Together, let's champion sustainability in agriculture and energy. Let's protect Zambia's natural heritage, such as forests, water, and wildlife. Let's empower our communities with knowledge, rights, and resiliency. Let's pursue climate justice nationally and globally. Let's remember that justice has no borders. Our struggles connect. Zambia's environmental challenges links to Africa, to global climate crisis. Solutions require cross-border solidarity, partnerships, and innovation. As we unite for a greener today and tomorrow, let's commit to act with agency and compassion, to bridge divides with collaboration, to leave no one behind in pursuit for environmental justice. In Zambia's beauty lies vulnerability and strength. Let's channel our collective power toward climate environmental justice for the people, for the planet, and for the future generations. I want to say thank you so much. Let's be united and remember, justice has no borders. I thank you.
On behalf of CEJ, I'm really delighted to be here and make mention that this event comes really at the right moment of the day that globally, as we all know, there are preparations for COP30, which will take place in early November in Brazil, where the Conference of Parties will be discussing issues on climate change. And we meet today just prior, and we know government is also having preparations for the COP. So the messages on environmental justice are real, and meeting in such a way in a rally and having one voice to government is one way of sharing what the desires that we all have towards environmental justice. So ladies and gentlemen, I know we really are all passionate on sustainable future, and we find this moment to gather and to champion and to show cause that really environmental justice has to be considered in its greatness.
We are seeing something worse: the destruction of the environment, but the extraction of the minerals that are supposed to give us justice. In Zimbabwe, for example, entire mountains are being detonated to extract minerals. In Serenge here in Zambia, manganese mining has brought disease never seen before. In Solwezi, crops are covered in mining dust. Houses are cracking from constant blasting. In Kafue, acid from copper mines poisoned the river, killed fish, killed livelihood. That's not over. Our lungs are full of toxic pollutants. Our rivers are dying. Our people are suffering. The question is this, and it's not just for Zambia, it's across the entire continent of Africa. Are we cursed? No, we are not cursed. We are exploited. If we are going to have justice, we need to redefine the role that our minerals play in our livelihood. And today, we want to say enough. I stand here in solidarity because climate change knows no borders. And the justice must know no borders.
With Africa emitting about 4% of carbon emissions and Zambia emitting about 0.03%, and the polluted rivers affecting communities, I stand here speaking on behalf of majority of Zambia's population, being the youth, the future generation. No, actually, the generation of now creating the future, faced with a risk of having a degraded future. Ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to be standing here at the podium and all protocols observed. This rally means more than just a gathering to us. For us, it means that people are here for collaboration and action. And we look forward to seeing a Zambia where young people can be at the driving seat of the change that we want to see. And as you have seen, there are a lot of young people in Zambia with innovations ready to take the driving seat where climate action and environmental protection is concerned. And we thank the Center for Environment Justice and Partners for creating platforms such as these where young people can express their voices where climate justice and environmental protection is concerned.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد. All praise is due to God, Lord of the world, who made the heavens and the earth in perfect balance. All praise is to God, Lord of the worlds, who made the heavens and the earth in perfect balance and entrusted human beings as stewards of his creation. As I begin to deliver my theological reflection, the notion that comes to our mind is that we are talking about spirituality. Matters that are of private concern, matters between you and God. That is not true. I want to tell you here, and if there is only one message you're going to get from me today, is that this world that we see has been created in perfect balance between the material and the spiritual. If you focus on the material and ignore the spiritual, I can tell you that doom is going to be your result. And that is why you find that there are people who have achieved materially, have reached the pinnacle, but they still can't find happiness because there is something that is missing in their lives, and that is the spirit. When God created Adam, he was just a material being, but he blew in him the spirit, and it was only after the spirit was blown in him that he became perfect. And so when we say that this world has been created in a perfect balance, we mean there's the material and the spiritual. Similarly, when you concentrate very much on the spiritual and neglect the material, the consequences are what you've heard. You hear of pastors, you hear of sheikhs that have killed people somewhere because they denied them, their portion, their share of the material of this world. And you can never have a perfect human being, you cannot have perfect creation if these two are not brought together in balance. And so when we bring faith leaders like myself to stand in the midst and speak to these issues of environment and climate justice, basically what we are here to do is to remind each one of us that even as we go about and do the things that we are doing, the spirit should not be neglected. We should always have it, not as a token, but as something that we wholeheartedly believe in and think that we need to have.
Reflecting on faith, morality, and shared responsibility in a borderless fight for justice. Beloved brothers and sisters in faith, we gather today not merely as citizens of our great nation Zambia, but as stewards of God's creation, God's sacred earth. As our theme is faith, morality, and shared responsibility in a borderless fight for justice, reminds us that the cry for environment and climate justice is not just a political or scientific issue. It is a deeply spiritual and moral one. I have 5 areas that I'll mention here in a few minutes. Number 1 is the spiritual foundation of stewardship. From the very beginning, beloved in the Lord, Scripture teaches us that creation is divine gift. Scripture teaches us that creation is a divine gift. In Genesis, God placed humanity in the garden to till it and to keep it. And the responsibility of humanity is to take care of it. That's Genesis chapter number 2, verse 15. This was not an invitation to exploit, but a sacred duty to care, protect, and sustain. Creation, beloved, care is therefore not optional. It is an act of worship and obedience. When we pollute rivers, destroy forests, and ignore the cries of species driven to extinction, we describe what is holy. What is holy? Environmental justice then is an extension of God's justice. To care for the earth is to love God untangibly ways. To care for environment is to love our God.
On which alone today we gather at the center for the Environmental Justice Rally 2025 with a profound understanding that justice has no borders, united for a greener tomorrow. This powerful statement resonates deeply in our current predicament, particularly in Zambia, where the impacts of environmental degradation, the climate change are felt disproportionately by our most vulnerable communities. As we stand here today, we recognize that environmental justice is not just a moral impediment, but a fundamental human right. The pursuit of a greener tomorrow demands that we act with urgency and solidarity. Acknowledging that the effects of environmental justice know no borders, whether they are geographical or social, economic, or generational. In Zambia, we are witnessing the devastating consequences of environmental degradation, from pollution and deforestation to the loss of biodiversity and the exasperating effects of climate change. These changes are not just environmental issues, they are actually human rights issues. They threaten the livelihoods, health, and very existence of our communities, particularly those in rural and marginalized areas.
The Almighty Creator has demanded us in the Holy Quran, chapter number 7, verse 56, and He says, "Do not cause corruption upon the earth, that after its reformation, and invoke Him in fear and aspiration. Indeed, the mercy of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala is near to the doers of good." On behalf of Family Development Initiative, FDI, I'm honored to join you today at this historic People's Rally for Climate and Environmental Justice. This rally is more than a gathering. It's a moral and collective call to action. We are reminded by the Quran that causing corruption and destruction upon the earth is a violation of our trust as Khalifas, stewards of creation. To care for environment is therefore not only a development concern, but a spiritual obligation. As FDI, we have witnessed in our communities the harsh realities of droughts, floods, and deforestation. These crises threaten food security, health, livelihood, and most painfully, the well-being of children. Indeed, climate justice is inseparable from social justice. Protecting the environment means protecting families, empowering women, and safeguarding the next generation.
It is a great honor and a profound privilege to stand before you to deliver the message of solidarity on behalf of our country director for Action Aid Zambia and the entire Federation of Action Aid at global level. We gather here today in solidarity, not just with each other, but with every farmer whose land is dry, every child who is breathing pollution, polluted air, every Zambian drinking polluted water, every community facing floods and drought they did not cause. We are here in the name of justice, climate justice, environmental justice. Zambia is on the front line of climate crisis. The crisis continues to pose an extortion challenge, impacting many Zambians despite the country's minimal contribution to global emission. With over 50% of the population heavily reliant on climate-sensitive sectors such as agriculture, forestry, water for their livelihood. Zambia continues to face intense drought, floods, heatwave, diseases outbreak that has eroded development giants and also exacerbated and also issues of inequality and also poverty.
Today, we gather here at the forefront of a crisis that threatens our very existence. The climate emergency is real, and its impacts are felt disproportionately by the most vulnerable amongst us. We have seen the impacts of climate change here in Zambia. Over the last few years, there have been droughts, there have been changes in weather patterns, and none of us can claim to have not been impacted. However, as said, the impacts are disproportionately distributed across the country, across society, and across communities. Events such as this raise understanding and awareness, rallying us together to find impactful solutions. We need more than just words. We need action. Coming from a bank, I can also say that there is definitely a need for financing that prioritizes people and the planet over pure profits. We need investments in climate resilience that benefit frontline communities. ABSA has trained over 800 women through our masterclasses. These masterclasses included topics such as sustainability and how to stay financially resilient against various shocks.
Our call today is not just for Chipangani, but for all of Zambia. Climate change knows no district or tribe. It affects us all. The loss of forests, unpredictable rains, and rising temperatures threaten our food system and cultural heritage. As Chief Munokwa, Oloinkosi Munokwa, as the treaty implies, I urge our nation to put climate change and climate education, environmental protection, and youth participation at the heart of development. In our chiefdom, we are planting trees in schools, promoting clean energy, and teaching children to be defenders of nature. This spirit of responsibility must spread nationwide. Climate justice demands that every citizen, from rural farmers to urban dwellers like yourselves here, takes part in healing the land. Together, let us transform Zambia into a model of environmental leadership in Africa, where growth is green and justice has no borders. I want to thank you, as we say in Ndoni, Napeta Nalameneiri. Thank you.
From Musoro, Mambo District, Eastern Province, we join hands with all Zambians gathered here to affirm that protecting the environment is not optional. It is our duty. The forests that give us rain, the rivers that give us life, and the soils that give us food and sustain us must be preserved through collective action. As Msoro traditional leadership, we are enforcing local laws against deforestation, encouraging clean energy use, and supporting alternative livelihoods that reduce pressure on nature. We are also encouraging smart agricultural practices. But the challenge goes beyond one chiefdom, one region. It is a national call for transformation. Climate justice must ensure that every household has access to water, energy, and sustainable livelihoods. Let this rally strengthen our shared resolve as one family, one people, and one earth. If we stand together, our mother Zambia will not only survive climate change, but she will thrive and lead Africa towards a greener, fairer tomorrow. Sibonga kwambiri.
I greet you from Iteji district in Southern Province. It is an honor to stand before you today, not just as a traditional leader, but as a voice for the people of Muwezwa Chiefdom in Iteji district and for all rural communities that live close to the land. We are gathered under a powerful theme: justice has no borders, united for a greener tomorrow. This theme is not just a statement, it is a challenge to break down barriers between urban and rural, young and old, rich and poor, and to act with unity in protecting the very foundation of life, our environment. When we say justice has no borders, we mean that the environment rights must not depend on where we live or what you earn. A child in Muwezwa has just as much right to breathe clean air as a child in Lusaka. A farmer in Wapula deserves the same access to health land as one in Central Province. The environment is a shared resource and just demands shared responsibility. Let me speak of my own home. The heartbeat of Muwezwa Chiefdom in Iteji is not only culture and culture, but also climate resilience.
Viva environmental defenders, viva!
Viva!
Viva environmental defenders, viva!
Viva!
What do we want? What do we want?
Climate justice.
When do we need it?
Now.
When do we need it?
Need it now.
My name is Yanko Banda, and I'm the secretary of the Children's News Agency, another organization, Media Network on Child Rights and Development. And once more, I'd like to say thank you for this opportunity to stand in front of you. Fellow climate advocates, our planet's survival depends on our collective commitment to justice and unity. Today, we must pledge to defend our communities and create a sustainable future for generations to come, regardless of gender, financial background, and demographics of any child out there. The young people of Zambia hold a very large percentage of the population, and so we need to wake up, step up, and speak up to defend our land that is slowly dying in front of our eyes.
Mulenga Waliakelebe is my name. I'm coming from Kawe, and indeed justice has no borders. That's why we've come all the way from Kawe to come and join this rally today. The general comment has been laid out, setting out principles that speaks to environmental protection. And we are urging everybody today that is part of this conversation, civil society organizations, representatives from different sectors, take this message back to where you are coming from.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. My name is Ellen Chioa, and I am 17 years old. I'm the Vice Chairperson of the Children's News Agency and future Madam President 2046. In the budget, more money is allocated to salaries and assets. Assets like trucks to collect garbage, bins, masks, and gloves. tools used to actually keep the environment clean. So we'll be breathing down your necks because we want you to succeed. Because climate justice and keeping the environment clean isn't only just about future generations, but our reality now. So as a child and as a teenager, I don't want to be reading national budgets. And yes, I read the national budget and I wrote this speech myself. But this is what justice is. Justice with no borders for a united, greener tomorrow. So my call to action is for the government to utilize these funds well and to include the voices of children because we know what we go through.
My name is Lutanda Chandamumba and I'm happy to be here to speak about something important, which is our planet. And I may be young, but I know the earth is changing because we see it in our daily lives, where we have floods washing away our homes, and we have droughts destroying our crops, which may also lead to malnutrition.
I want you to look at this plastic very closely, or very much. And then, I also want you to look at this. What you're seeing here is how plastic has been transformed into something new, something that can be of value, something that you can use on a daily basis. And that is just to simply call out a mindset shift that we shouldn't be looking at trash as a useless material, but rather we should be looking at trash as something that we can make use of in another process.